So the next concept what we will discuss is about your logic programming. In logic programming, we will try to address the concept of predicate logic, and also we will try to learn about your propositional logic. In today's session, we will try to concentrate moreover on what is logic programming and what are the concepts we have learned previously in Unit 2 about your propositional logic, and also about your predicate logic, the basic things, whatever we have learned, how to use them in your programming aspects. So in the initial sessions, I have said that we will be learning about a language, programming language with respect to logic programming called as Prolog. That is the language what we will be learning with respect to your artificial intelligence. But as part of the restrictions or the limitations of our syllabus, we will try to understand the basics of your logic programming, that is your using your Prolog, and we will not try to go deep into the concepts of Prolog programming, but because that is not the theme of our concept, we'll just try to show you what are the things you need to understand, the basic syntaxes with respect to your logic programming with some basic examples. And with that, we'll try to end logic programming concepts with respect to your propositional logic and also your predicate logic. Okay. So talking about your logic programming, initially we need to understand what actually is a logic. So basically the English meaning or the general understanding of the logic word is something which will be like a concept will be given or a question will be given, and we'll be trying to get some solutions with our own logics, right? Everybody will be having your own logic way of understanding something, right? So if I talk about a programming language, logic plays a key role because a concept need to be understood by a program with respect to a logic. You need to write a program which is called as a logic, and the representation with respect to some semantics or rules or the syntaxes varies according to the different programming languages. That's not our primary concern. Let's try to understand what actually is logic. Okay, logic is not concerned with, one second, yeah, logic is not concerned with what is true or what is false. So logic is the study of some concept or which follows from what is given, what conclusions follow from the set of premises. Yeah, so the same thing we have seen in the previous discussions or the previous concepts is like we will be given some set of premises. The set of premises should lead to some conclusions. A conclusion also will be given, or we call it as a hypothesis. A premises like premise 1, premise 2, likewise we'll be having some set of premises. That premises will lead to some conclusion. So you if you want to get that some conclusion, you need to use some rules of inferences, or also you can use your semantic tableau procedures, you can use your resolution or refutation method. There are a number of methods how you draw your conclusions. That's what you call it your logic. So logic here means how you're getting some conclusion, what is the formulae or what is that you're using behind the scene so that you're getting some conclusion. That is what we call it as logic. It can be defined as a study of principles of correct reasoning. Yeah, exactly, because you're trying to take some premises and give some conclusions, you need to give reasoning. The word reasoning is very important here. That's what we are trying to understand from the initial stages of your artificial intelligence. So we are trying to learn these concepts of your discrete structures with respect to AI for the single purpose is about your reasoning. You need to give proper reasoning for the conclusions whatever you are drawing from the set of given premises. Yeah. So the main thing we study in logic are principles which are governing the valid arguments and check whether certain conclusions follows from the given assumption. So here with respect to the above statement, we can see there are two statements given here. Alice likes everyone who likes logic. That is the premise 1. And premise 2, you can say Alice likes logic. So here you can see the common person here is Alice and the common thing is logic. So there is some connection between these two premises, and the conclusion what we can draw from these given premises is Alice like himself because he is also one of the everyone. So the first statement is saying that Alice likes everyone who likes logic. Here everyone includes Alice also. It can be Alice, it can be me, it can be you, it can be anybody who likes a logic. that person will be liked by allies. That's what is the conclusion. Allies likes himself because he also likes logic. This is how we try to give some conclusions. But if I say this is a statement according to your English statements, because everybody of us understand the language called as English, we definitely accept that this conclusion is correct. But if I talk about reasoning, or if I talk about some intelligent system here, here there comes a question like, is this argument valid? How do you know? Because we are human beings, we are having brain, we'll be trying to give reasoning according to our understanding. So it's my understanding that I'm having two elements, like one is Elias is my person and he likes logic. Logic is the common word here. Yeah, just give me 1 minute. One second, guys. Yeah. So Elias likes himself is the conclusion what we are taking here. So according to my understanding, this might be my understanding, because this is way I am trying to understand things. In the same manner, every person will be having his own methodology of understanding. But here we are talking about some human beings, or something like sorry, talking about some intelligent machines where there it need to be understood by some reasoning. So it's our duty to make a human make an intelligent system understand that this statement is a valid statement. But if you want to give a reasoning for that, how do you give that? What is the procedure you need to follow to make an intelligent system understand that this conclusion is correct? That is where we talk about your logic programming. Okay, so let's try to see about that in the upcoming next slides. Yeah. So concluding about logic here, the logic process takes in some information like the premises, what you call it as premises are considered as the input, and produces some output called as some conclusion. So here input is your premises and conclusion is your output. So if you want to get some conclusions, what is the set of procedure you are going to ensure? That is what you call it as your understanding, or you call it as your reasoning. So for that reason only, we are trying to learn about the propositional logic, you're trying to learn about the predicate logic, and also you're trying to learn about them with respect to your logic programming. Okay. Yeah. So I think this thing is clear for everybody, and I'm going for next slide. Yeah. So now let's see about in depth of what is logic, what we have discussed about the propositional logic and predicate logic, and how these two things are part of your logic. Okay. Yeah. So talking about your symbolic logic, a method of representing logical expressions through the use of symbols and variables rather than in ordinary language. Yeah. So here you can see a statement like, very simply an English statement is given in the premises, allies like everyone who likes logic. That is your English language premise. But as a system or as an intelligent machine, it doesn't want every time as English language, because it want some symbols or some expressions or syntaxes for a machine to be understood. So for that reason, we need to go for some symbolic way of representation of your logic. That's why we are calling them as your symbolic logic. Yeah, it provides the benefit of removing the ambiguity that is generally seen in ordinary language like English. So basically, the English statements, whatever you are going to give as form of your premises, may lead to some ambiguity, or you call it as confusion. So to remove this confusion, we will try to represent a set of premises through your symbolic form. That's what we call it as your symbolic representation of your logic. So because an intelligent machine or any machine learning algorithm or any device which is being developed will not think about itself, or will not think about how a logic is formed, we need to provide all the set of possible things or the reasoning, so that it will try to understand how a logic can be framed. That's why it's normally divided into two branches, that is your propositional logic and predicate logic. Yeah. Okay. So propositional logic, we have seen In the previous sessions, we have learned about this from last 7 to 8 sessions about what is propositional logic, how to represent them using your different connective statements. All those things have been discussed on past 7 to 8 sessions. Now let's try to learn them with respect to your logic programming also. Yeah, the simplest form of logic is called as your propositional logic, because here you will try to use your symbols called as your connectives. The if statements, the symbolic forms like implication symbol, negation, and or conjunction, distinction. So these all things will be we have seen previously. That's why it is called as the simplest form of formal logic. Okay, so all statements made are called propositions. Yeah, we have discussed about this also. What is a proposition and what is a premise? What is the representation, like A and B or B and C is one proposition or premise what is given to us, and we will try to conclude them. Yeah, the formal logic is concerned with the syntax of statements and not with their semantics. Yeah. So here you can see the statement, whatever the premise you are given, allies, likes, logic. So for that, you need to represent them according to the symbol, whatever you are going to represent. Here we are not concerned about the semantics, what we need to ensure. Okay. Yeah. It deals with manipulation of logical variables, which represents proposition. So there will be logically a number of manipulations, like what that is what we call it as rules of inferences logics. You need to make yourself. Suppose if I say I am having some set of 6 premises, I can use premise 1 and premise 5 and give some conclusion. That's what we have seen in the previous example. While talking about your resolution and refutation method, you have taken some example of your table, and there you have used different premises without any order. So you can manipulate it in number of ways and try to get some reasoning and some conclusion. Okay, yeah. So propositional logic is concerned with a subset of declarative statements that can be either true or false. Yeah, here you can see the statement allies likes everyone who likes logic. The statements can be true or false. It depends on that person. Allies can change his opinion again later on. I don't like logic. So a statement can be called as true or false, but according to that, whenever the statement is given to that, we need to take the statement and try to give them conclusion, whether it is true or false. The conclusion whatever we are going to draw, that should be a valid one. That is the important thing what you need to keep in your mind. Yeah, so propositional logic takes only two values, that is either true or false. It's not concerned about the other things. It will only check about whether it is true or it is false. Accordingly only it will try to address things. So this is again about your propositional logic, where you have seen about some literals, or you call it as the syntaxes, what you will ensure with respect to your propositional logic. Okay. Yeah. Just 1 second, guys. Okay. So you can see what are the letters, why we have used some alphabets called as A, B, C, or P, Q, or P, or Q, P, and Q. These are the letters with subscripted numerals well formed atomic propositions. So if you want to represent your premises, you'll be using these literals, or called as letters, or alphabets, which will be used to mention your atomic propositions. So here you can see some set of things like negation of A, the terminology, how it is represented for people who are again recalling your things. This is something clear for you. It is called as your negation of A. A and B basically we represent with inverted V. That is the symbol for your and. This is not the exact symbol. Okay. So A or B, that is your distinction statement. A implies B, A by implies B. So we haven't discussed about exclusive OR, but basically these are also part of your propositional logic. The AND gate, the NAND gate, or the NAND truth table, what you learned previously, will be part of this. Exclusive, disjunction, disjoint general of A and A with B. These are things which are part of your syntaxes with respect to your propositional logic. So as of our discussions, we have seen the first 5 things up to your by implication with respect to your various alphabets. Okay. Yeah. So the truth tables, or the using your logical connectives, whenever you are having two premises, It can be true, true, or true, false, false, true, and false, false. Sometimes we have also seen some. These are the two letters, two alphabets based true tables. Sometimes we'll be using three statements also, A, B, C, or P, Q, R. At that time, you will be having 8 statements or 8 possible things. Accordingly, you will be trying to give your uh, premises and solutions. So these are the truth tables or summary of truth tables according to the discussion whatever you have done previously. So we have also undergone some quiz with respect to your truth tables and connectives previously, so you can learn from them. Okay. Yeah. So why we actually use propositional logic? These things are also discussed in the previous sessions, but yet again, I want to make everything as a revision for you and make you all understand how these concepts can be used with respect to your logical programming. Okay. Yeah. So we use propositional logic to check the formulas very easily. So it's easier to check your formulas. So the rules and inferences whatever you're going to use, those are called as your rules or called as the formulas. They can be applied as easy as it is. So we have learned about them in your level learning about your axiomatic system. Axiom is something called as your universal truth, and that can be used as it is because that need to be followed how it is being given. Okay. So we can exploit the Boolean nature, that is either true or false, for efficient reasoning. So why it is true or why it is false, we can exploit them using your different premises or different examples using your rules of inferences. Yeah, it's easier to incrementally add formulas. So suppose if I say I'm having P implies Q, so implication rule can be converted into conjunction normal form using your negation P or Q. So that's how you'll try to use your own methodology of problem solving and give your reasoning using your own way of rules whatever they are previously available. Yeah, it can be extended infinitely to many variables using logical quantifiers. So using logical quantifiers which are part of your predicate logic, like existential operation, for all things, these are the different quantifiers what you can use, and you can increase them according to the reasons or the premises whatever are given to you. Okay. Yeah. So this is what we haven't discussed in the previous session, that is your predicate logic. So while talking about your predicate logic, there are different types of predicate logic, like first order predicate calculus or predicate logic is what we'll be learning with respect to your predicate logic. So first order predicate logic or calculus was developed by logicians to extend the expressiveness of your propositional logic. Yeah, while learning about propositional logic, I said that it is a simpler way of representing a statements with your connectives or your symbols. But if you want to extend the explanations of your propositional logic, or you want to make some detailed information about your propositional logic, you need to go for your predicate logic. Okay. So this is developed by logicians to extend the expressiveness of your propositional logic. Yeah. So it is generalization or it is the advancement of your propositional logic that permits reasoning about world entities like objects as well as classes and subclasses of objects. So because we are talking about your logic programming, we will now try to talk about some programming aspects like what is a class, what is a subclass, what is object, which you already know about the basics of your Java. Okay. So yeah, here you can see one important thing, like Prolog is also based on your first order predicate logic. Prolog is a programming language which is used for your propositional logic. That's why it's named as Prolog, propositional logic programming or propositional logic. Okay. So you need to keep this in your mind, guys, while explaining about your different things or the inputs required for your artificial intelligence. I said that Lisp is one important programming language which you need to learn as part of your artificial intelligence. In the same manner, Prolog is one important language which will be used in artificial intelligence to make a machine understand about these propositional logics, the reasonings which can be explained through your Prolog. Okay. Yeah. Predicate logic uses variables and quantifiers, which is not present in propositional logic. So everybody please make a note of this statement. Predicate logic uses variables and quantifiers. So we have used variables as part of your propositional logic. Here we will be using quantifiers also with respect to your predicate logic. So please make a note of this point and keep in your mind, so that whenever you are answering about your predicate logic, that will be useful. Okay. Yeah. So why we should learn first order predicate logic, or why we need to learn about your predicate logic. Okay. So for that we will be having a small example. We'll try to understand it with respect to some example, and make it clear why propositional logic is not sufficient for making it reach to your logic programming. What is the drawback of your propositional logic? Okay. So suppose we are having two statements based on which we need to draw some conclusion. We suppose you can see the premise one or statement one says that all students must take Java. That is some mandatory subject for every students. Okay, 1 second, guys. Yeah, definitely. We'll discuss about that predicate logic. Uh, Once example is completed, we'll go through that. Okay. Okay. So statement one here is stating that all students must take Java. That is the compulsion being given to students with respect to your programming language called as Java. Statement two says that John is a student. So obviously, because everybody need to take Java as a subject, so the conclusion what we are taking is, according to our understanding, John must take Java. That is the basic understanding what we need to have. But according to propositional logic, that is not the exact conclusion what we can say. There can be different conclusion also. That is the disadvantage of your propositional logic. Okay. Yeah. So as requested, let's try to talk about your predicate logic. So while discussing about your predicate logic, so in propositional logic we'll only try to use the basic connective statements, and we'll try to make use some rules of inferences and give some conclusions. But the connectives or the rules of inferences, whatever you are using, will not lead to the exact conclusions. Sometimes we need to use some quantifier statements which can give some better conclusions. That's the reason we are going for your predicate logic. Okay. That's why predicate logic uses variables and some quantifiers, which is the advancement or the betterment for giving some proper reasoning with respect to your given premises and your conclusion. So there I'll try to explain them in the upcoming slides about your predicate logic, then it will be clear for you. Okay. So this is the small example, like why we actually go for your predicate logic, because the propositional logic will not always give you the exact conclusions. We need to have some better reasoning with respect to your given premises. Let's see how that can be done. Okay. So talking about your predicate logic, that is first order predicate logic. Suppose if I give a English statement, 0 is a natural number. So definitely, as everybody of us are good at your understanding of your programming, so now we are talking about your Prolog language, how it can be represented. So the statement 0 is a natural number can be written as natural of 0. That's how we'll try to make a system or a intelligent system understand how this statement can be confined or defined with respect to some semantics. Here if I say natural of 0, it represents the same meaning that 0 is a natural number. You can go for statement 2. For all x, if x is a natural number, then so is successor of x. The same statement can be represented with respect to your predicate logic using here. Here, even in place of your for all statement, you can use a symbol for that, which I'll show in the next upcoming slide. There will be a for all symbol like V inverted A. We call it as inverted A in your understanding. So the same statement can be represented with respect to a predicate logic using natural of x implies natural of successor of x. So here we are saying that for all values of x, it can be 1, 2, 3 or anything 0. If x is a natural number, then so is successor of x. Suppose if I say 5 is a natural number, successor of that one is 6. 6 is also a natural number. That's what is the statement saying, and we can represent them in this formal, because if it is the if then rule, we are using the implication connective here. Okay, so we are also trying to talk predicate logic with respect to your propositional logic. The connective whatever you are going to use might be your implication, which is used as part of your propositional logic. But here you need to understand how you are trying to transform the given sentence into your predicate logic manner. That's what we're calling as natural of x implies natural of successor of x. That is, if 5 is a natural number, then 6 is also a natural number. That's how it is representing. Okay, so the next one, 2 is a natural number, natural of 2. Minus 1 is a natural number, natural of minus 1. This is what you are going to represent with respect to your predicate logic. Okay, yeah. So the first order predicate logic or predicate calculus classifies the different parts of statements as follows. It can be consonants or constants. It can be predicates. It can be functions. The functions, whatever you have used here, natural of 2 is one function. You can use your variables, like x is a variable here. You can use your connectives, like implication is a connective. Quantifiers, like for all symbol or existential operator is one connective. Punctuation symbols, these all things are classified as part of your predicate calculus or first order predicate logics. Okay, so we are trying to talk about your predicate logic, but let's be clear with what actually is this word called as predicate or predicates. These are names for the functions that are true or false, like the Boolean operations or Boolean statements in a given program. So basically, the true or false statements represents, like the previous example, I can say natural of 0. If it is true, it will be written as 2, or else it is false. That's how the predicate logic will try to give some functions according to the Boolean functions. So here you can see a small example with respect to that. Amit likes sweets. So here I am having three words. One is Amit is a person. Likes is the what do you call response or the reasoning, or you call something which is trying to represent the scenario between Amit and sweets, right? Amit likes sweets, so I can convert it like likes of Amit comma sweets with respect to your predicate logic. So Amit and sweets are called as atoms. Likes is your predicate. I think now this is clear from the statement. Okay, so what is a predicate here is likes of something. Likes here is taken from the statement, that is called as your predicate. In the same manner, here you can see natural is a predicate. Natural of 0 is your predicate logic according to the given statement. So here you need to understand what is a predicate from the given statement. Predicates can take a number of arguments. It can here you have seen predicate is taking only one argument, like natural of 0. But here you can see likes of Amit comma sweets. If a sentence is much more bigger, which is trying to convey other meaning, there can be n number of arguments also as part of your predicate. In example, the predicate natural takes one argument, natural of n. The predicate likes of Amit comma sweets